All right. So we'll call the meeting to order at 6:06. Thank you all for making it, taking the time during the holidays. I know it's can be tricky, so I appreciate it. Try to make this a quick one. Um, so does everybody have the agenda or do you need me to share it? Guess we'll not share.
I
You're
just ran to
muted,
get a cup
Ricky.
of tea. What did you say? I'm sorry.
Oh,
Are you asking me something?
I just called the meeting to order. I was just seeing if everybody had the agenda or if anybody needed
Yeah,
me to share it before we do it. So the first item on there is the consent agenda, which I'd sent out the meetings from the October board meeting last week, and hopefully everybody had time to review those and let us know if we need to make any changes to those. But otherwise, I would make a motion to accept the minutes from the October 15th meeting. Um, so a
I
second for
would
that.
make a second motion to accept those.
All right. All in favor of accepting the minutes?
I
I
Any opposed or any issues? Okay, those are accepted. So then, does anybody have anything they want to add to the agenda or basically any agenda changes before we dive in? Okay, and does anybody have any comments or remarks they want to have read into the record? Okay, then. Well, then we'll start off, just kind of go through what's on the upcoming calendar here real quick. The next meeting coming up is January 15th. That's Thursday. That is going to be at the new Chaffey County EMS facility out by the Buena Vista Airport on it's actually on Steel Drive that becomes Greg Drive out there. It's supposed to be a pretty cool spot, so it'll be our first meeting out there. We've had Alex Townsend on the docket for a while. He's going to come and give an update on what they found with this year's electroshock and give kind of a review of stocking and what their plans are moving forward. And then Sean Shepard was at the most recent AHRA Citizens Task Force meeting and mentioned a few projects that they have planned for next year. So I asked him to come, and so he's going to come and talk about those. Some cool stuff happening on the main stem. There's going to be a north of BV. They recently acquired a property up there, and they're going to be working on upgrading the diversion structure for the water rights for that property. And then they're also, I guess, going to be doing some in-stream habitat work kind of around the the hatchery where the old hatchery dam was. So that's going to be, he's going to give some more details on that. And then Sarah Evans, who's a science teacher at BV High School, is going to come by and give an update on how the trout in the classroom tank is coming along. So that should be some good science going on at this one. Then we'll have our next board meeting on February 19th. The next chapter meeting, March 19th, which will be down at the Valley View School in Salida again. We don't have anybody on the agenda for that one yet. So if anybody has any ideas, let me know. Um, and then let's see, April 2nd is going to be the International Fly Fishing Film Festival. And we're going to do that at the Lariat this year. I'll talk about that a little bit more down below. Then April 16th board meeting, May 21st will be our last chapter meeting of the year. And that's going to be up in BV, probably, hopefully at the EMS facility again. If not, we might do it at Sangre de Cristo. They're back open, so they've got their meeting facility back available again. So we may do that there, depending. But and we also need a speaker for that one, so we need to get that figured out. And then September 14th is going to be Moonlight Monday. So we won the lottery to get a spot to be Moonlight Monday again this year, and we're pretty early in the season, which is cool. And that's credit to Rick Helmick for staying on top of that and keeping us on that. Anybody have any questions about those?
Yeah,
we're
you're
going to talk about.
talking about September 19th of next year.
September
Like,
14th of 2027, yes.
oh,
Or
I
2026. 2026, yeah.
it's a long ways off. Like,
Yeah.
I appreciate you doing that, but like, yeah, no, Let's do it.
Yeah, that's so Moonlight Monday is Moonlight Pizza down in Salida.
I
They
love
do
them.
they've been yeah, they've been doing this for years where they do every Monday. Now it's less often, but it was like every Monday during a portion of the year, they give 10% of profits for sales that day to a given nonprofit and they rotate
Oh
through.
hell,
And it's
I never
gotten
heard about that, man.
yeah,
The
it's
best
gotten so
pizza in the county,
popular.
you know.
Yeah. It's gotten so
All right,
popular
just
now that
I,
they have
cool.
a lottery now basically for because there's too many nonprofits that want to participate. And so
Yeah,
we were able to get in this year. We've been in it every year, and
nice.
so feels good to be in there again. So yeah, that's just a kind of a nice little extra bump of funds and exposure. So it's great.
That's great, man.
Cool.
It's great. It's great pizza.
Yeah. Yeah, they're good
Um,
people.
I'm trying to coordinate with Max. He was the the winner of the scholarship, Fred
Right.
Rasmussen
Okay.
scholarship for this past year. And hold on. And we'll try to figure out, yeah, one of those two meetings to have him give a short presentation. So
Okay.
Chris, I'll just keep you updated on that.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, he's welcome to come down and do it in person if he wants, but that's a long way to come for what doesn't need to be a really long presentation. So I'm cool with doing that via Zoom, and I've been working trying to think about ways that we can do hybrid meetings so that people can attend online as opposed to having to be in person, and that would also allow us to record meetings if we wanted to. So I'm hopeful that we'll be able to give him the option of just coming in on Zoom and doing it. I think we should be able to do it.
I think that's a great idea. But hey, man, like I'd be interested in just like throwing out some um, great pointers and doing things for people who don't know how to fly fish, and just for newbies, anytime you
Okay.
want, you know,
Like
and
at one of the chapter
record them,
meetings.
you know,
Oh yeah.
and
Okay.
get kick them out for newbies,
Okay. Cool. Yeah, and
because you
just like
guys
kind
are
of
all
have that
we're
as
all
a
like seasoned veterans, right? But I think that what might be a good thing to get new people in to TU is that we need to get these like how do you tie those knots? How do you do these things and the stuff that when we got into them, you're like all worried about, right?
yeah. So you're thinking of
So
like maybe doing like a series of YouTube videos or something like that, and we can have it linked to our website and have it available as a resource for the community.
totally, and
Yeah,
just like I
cool.
did that like intro to fly fishing course this spring, but that could have been recorded,
Yeah, yeah, we'll work on how to do that. We don't like recording meetings, we can kind of do it through um through a Zoom, but doing something like recording that or we need I think more like better camera equipment to do that, but it's certainly something we can work on. I think we can probably find people in the community that have it that are willing to like let us borrow their cameras or something like that so we can get
I think Kimberly is smart enough, um, more than all of us, that she can figure that out, right?
I mean, I might have some knowledge. I was trying not to volunteer myself just yet, but yeah, it's a possibility.
no, you're on the hook now.
Mm,
So all right,
yeah,
cool. That's great,
I
Billy.
penciled it in my notes here.
Okay. Yeah, let's work on that, Billy, over this spring so we can get some stuff going, once it warms up a little bit and we can actually show you catching fish. So cool. Thanks. All right. Does anybody have any other thoughts before we jump into the new business? Cool. Well, the first thing I wanted to do is kind of look at, we've had a couple of fundraisers happen recently, and I just wanted to recap those. The first one was the online raffle that we did. We had 4 trips that we raffled off. One was donated by Andrew. Thank you, Andrew, again. And then we had one from Upriver, one from Arc Anglers, and one from Spinnerfall out on the Green River in Utah. Um, so our net from that was $2,405, which is not great. The last one we did, I think, was more than twice that, and then when we did them a few years ago, it was, I think, twice even that, like the ones we did in COVID. So um, we didn't get the support from Colorado TU that I was expecting when we put this together. We had the expectation that they were going to push this out via email to their members and support it on social media. And I got that story from David Nickum, the executive director. But when I went to talk with Kyle Perkins, who does all their communication stuff, he wasn't interested in doing that. Didn't feel like that was an effective way to use their. So it's sort of a lack of communication on their side. And so we had expectations that weren't realized there from their side. So we did what we could from our end to do it. They did do the day before it closed, they put out one like it's your last chance email, but it was the first time most of those people had seen it. So we didn't have the exposure that I was hoping for, and then I think as a result of that, we didn't have um, that. It was also kind of in the middle of a lot of other fundraising pushes that people were doing. You know, it was um, late November, early December, so it was kind of people were getting pounded with Colorado Gives Day stuff. One of the other chapters had a big raffle going on at the same time, so I don't know that there's a good time to do raffles. We had moved it to this time of year thinking that we would avoid the spring rush of raffles, and it didn't really happen that way. Honestly, given this turnout, I don't know that an online raffle is something we ought to continue to try to do. I think we have to call in a lot of favors from our industry allies, and if we're not going to get this sort of return that we're hoping, I don't think it's necessarily worth doing. Um,
Chris?
yeah, go ahead, Keith.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you that I think there's just too many raffles now where we have a lot more competition than previously. But the successful years, I'm surprised you got pushback from CTU because I think that was the reason we made a 5,000 or so years because they put it out for us throughout the state. And, it didn't seem that hard for them and it was certainly a benefit to us. So I think that was a big reason why we fell only half as much as previous years.
Yeah, I agree. I was disappointed by that. So, given that's probably going to be the case moving forward, we don't really have the vehicle to get it out to the whole state. Um, I spent some money on a statewide Facebook ad for it, and that had zero response. So we just don't have the ability to put it out statewide. So we did have, yeah, I think we only had two or three people buy tickets that were outside of our area. Almost everybody who bought tickets were locals, were, members or in our area. And because I did do a fair bit of like social media and on our own email, and it reflected in who bought tickets. Last time we did it, we definitely had a lot more people from all over the state, and that when we did have more from TU. But the good
Hey,
news
Chris, like, what's
is,
the whole goal?
yeah,
Just to make money? And
yeah.
just like, so I think we can, I think that we could like dial this into the Chaffee County and, you know, um, we could do this. Um, I think that um, reaching out to other counties, they don't know what we're doing, and TU's great, right? But like, we have to dial us into our community here, and I think that's going to be our key moving forward.
Yeah, I mean the goal with this was to try to get some of those people who don't live here but do fish here to also contribute, and so because yeah, absolutely, we have to go to our base, but this was like an attempt to try to go outside the base at least one time to get some uh, additional revenue from those folks. But it didn't work as well as we'd hoped. But we got $2,400 out of it, and it's not nothing. That's a good chunk of money. Um,
I
but
agree with you,
as
and I
compared
think that's
to
awesome.
yeah,
But like, how do you like? There's so many out of staters that come in here to go fishing. Like I'd say 75% of our clientele in the commercial fishing industry is out of state. How do we tap into that? Like
right.
that's the big question because um, the locals go fishing with their local guides, and like, how do we get them drawn in? I think is the question.
Yeah, that's a big question, and that's a question in a lot of different ways. We talk about that just in the conservation sense of like how do we communicate, how do we get messaging to people who don't live here, like about how to take care of the river or how to poop in the woods so they're not, messing up when they're dispersed camping and all those things. It's a question like throughout the conservation community of like how do we get the messaging to those people because they don't necessarily they aren't looking at our website or whatever. They're just coming in, they do what they do, and then they go back home. And so how do we get them to support the groups that are preserving the resource that they're using? And how do we get messaging, educate them basically on how to better protect that resource? And it's a big problem, and I haven't heard a good answer yet. So yeah, continuing to work with our community, like people like Arc Anglers and Upriver and Next Eddy are the ones probably that they're communicating with most. So trying to get that messaging through those guys, but again, without beating them up, because
I know.
we don't want to be walking in the door asking for something every time we walk in the door at one of the fly shops. That's not a great way to keep a relationship. We have to keep it, it has to be
We
a
have a thought though. Like
symbiotic.
I think that all these guide services and all these people who live and enjoy the backcountry, like there should be some sort of service that we can all donate to take care of this stuff. And it might be TU, it might be you know HRA, it might be whatever, but like it seems like we're all in the same mode and trying to do the right thing, and keep people from trashing our valley, and lighting on fire. But like, um, we have to all come together at some point, man. And because all these like different entities, right? And how do we do that?
Yeah, well, one way we're doing it, we're trying to do it is we've got a group called the Upper Arkansas Watershed Partnership that our chapter is a member of, and it's us, Garna, Arwick, which is a nonprofit arm of the Ark Basin Roundtable, Central Colorado Conservancy, and the Upper Arkansas Conservation District, which is the soil conservation district. And so that's one thing is trying to get the community of conservation nonprofits together to communicate, work together. And so that's one way we're trying to do it. And that's a group that we want to continue to grow and expand. Um, and that's really how most of our conservation work in the last several years has been mostly through the UAWP. So that's one way. But yeah, communicating with people who are coming in from outside the community is an ongoing challenge, really everywhere. I think
Well, hey,
for
man, I
anybody.
do think though that we have to get like and all these rafting companies together with us, to do because we're all in the same boat. We want a
Yeah.
healthy river, and we want healthy fish and rapids and water, and I think that this is a good champion thing to work for.
For sure.
And
For sure. And that's why
um,
it's great to have, we've got Bob Hamill on our board, longtime member of our board here, who also runs the Outfitters Association, the AROA. So yeah, that's a great point of contact and collaboration there too. So we're working on it, but yeah, that's an ongoing problem. But yeah, I appreciate the ideas, and we should continue having that conversation of like how do we communicate and how do we get those folks to support our mission. So yeah, and one thing we've been doing
I
is
appreciate this, man.
yeah,
I'm fired up tonight.
I love to see
Happens,
it.
right? But
Love to see it.
I just, like sometimes you have ideas that come into you, and sometimes they don't.
uh
And I
No, that's why we're
I
here.
think it's like a great thing that we can all collaborate. And I appreciate you all like listen to me, and because I think there's a lot of good ideas floating around.
Yeah. Well, that's why I like that's why I'm excited to have you and Andrew join the board, get some new blood in here. We've got a ton of really awesome dedicated people here that have been here a while, and so and um I love it when these meetings are not me just yakking at you guys. I want this to be an exchange, so this is great.
Hey, Chris,
Um,
pardon me.
yeah,
Can you reiterate the name of the group that's putting all of these nonprofits together?
yeah. It's the Upper Arkansas Watershed Partnership,
Okay.
UAWP.
UAWP, got it. Cool.
Yeah,
Thanks, buddy.
yep. Yeah, we needed another acronym in the valley, so we went and made one. So I have a few years ago, and I still use it. Karen Dills, who is not maybe not all of you that knew her, but Reed Dills, her husband, and Karen were two of the founding members of this chapter, and she was the secretary up until Ricky took over last year. And she had a like a spreadsheet just of acronyms. Just who the heck are all these people? And so I've got that, and I use it all the time still.
It's a pretty
So
mindful way to do it, huh?
yeah, you got to keep up. All right, well, moving on with the fundraising recap here. We had kind of a disappointing result from the raffle, but our Colorado Gives Day was much better than expected. Last year, our total was $1,950. This year, it was 3,945. And that was with, I'm hopeful to have another 500 coming. We had one donation that bounced essentially. And so I'm hopeful that those for $500. So I'm hopeful that those folks will bring that back in. So we're basically at twice what we did last year for Colorado Gives Day. So that's a great surprise. Um, and hopefully we'll be able to keep that moving up and be a more powerful piece of our fundraising goals. Um, so, any questions about all that? And that's all money that just goes into our general fund, so we can use that basically for any sort of operations, costs for any of our programming and stuff. So that's um, great to have unrestricted funds come in like that. Um, cool. Well, then the next thing on the agenda was just another update on the South Arc project. Which is just to review or Billy and Andrew let you guys know, this is a project that we've really been working on as a chapter for over a decade. And in the last few years, it's got a lot of momentum. We've last year we hired an engineering firm out of Salida to start creating designs to do this, and it's the 1.2 miles of the South Arkansas from the confluence down in the Two Rivers up through town up to County Road 107, which is where Brady's Nursery is. So that whole area, and that includes the Two Rivers neighborhood down near the confluence. It also includes the 100-acre Vanderveer property that the city of Salida owns. And so we had in October we were able to get our 60% design plans. And so we are now working on getting 100 the next step is to get those to 100% construction ready plans and get through permitting. And then the next phase after that will be another round of fundraising to raise the couple $1 million maybe that it's going to take to actually do the work. But we have to get fully designed before we get there. So we've got the 60s. Um, we're prioritizing two chunks of it. And if any of you were at the September meeting where I kind of reviewed all the 60% plans, we're really focusing, and this is after discussing it with our funders, with Colorado Water Conservation Board, who's been our primary funder for this project. The piece of it from the Highway 50 bridge downstream to the confluence, basically all through two rivers, that piece, and then the most upstream piece. So the Wyckoffs who live basically upstream of Vanderveer and the upper chunk of the Vanderveer property. Those two segments are what we're looking at doing, taking those two segments to 100% design. The area kind of in the middle there, um, the lower half of the Vanderveer property and the Snyder's property, which is downstream of them. That was an area where we're looking at potentially realigning the river, moving it north, for a variety of reasons. There's a lot of debate about whether that should happen and how it should happen, and also anytime you move a river, that you need to make sure you know what you're doing. So we need to do a lot more hydraulic modeling on that and do a lot of different scenarios, worst case scenarios, and things like that to find out what happens because the city is planning to build a lot of infrastructure in there. They're going to build 400 plus houses. They're going to build, but more um, adjacent to the river is going to be, or at least to the floodplain, is going to be some fields, some multi-use recreational fields. So CWCB feels, and I kind of agree with them, that we need to do a lot more investigation of that option and a lot more alternatives analysis on that area. So that's kind of we're moving forward with that, but that's kind of we're stepping back. Whereas these other two pieces, we're going gung ho. That's going to be more straightforward, like habitat improvements within the river corridor and riparian planting, things like that. That's a little bit less radical, a little more straightforward, and everybody feels like that's kind of more of like a complete project in and of themselves. So that's where we're moving there. We've got one grant, the CWCB grant has been submitted, and then the fishing is fun is the other piece we're going to use as a CPW fishing is fun grant, and that one we're about 90% done with that grant application, and that one's due January 9th. So we're in good shape there. The total budget for that is it's 181,000 is the budget for the 100% design and permitting. And then, so we're asking CWCB for 123,000 and then 45,000 from Fishing is Fun. And then we'll have about 12,000 in kind, basically pro bono time, from our folks on that. And so that is, let's see, if we get all that money, that'll all be probably awarded in late spring, like in April, May timeframe. We'll go through contracting with those guys, and then with our design firm, we're planning to use the same design firm. And we'll be looking at, let's see, so it'll be like probably July of 2026 before we really get rolling. We've got a boatload of individual landowners down. We got 21 individual waterfront landowners in Two Rivers that each own like, 50 feet of land, of waterfront or whatever, but so we're gonna have a lot of meetings to go through. So it's gonna take some time. Um, but they're all sort of, in principle in support of it. We have to go through the specific nitty-gritty of what's going to happen exactly in each point on the river, which each of these landowners. So we're looking at probably 9 months to 12 months before we get through design, 100% design and permitting. And then we start another phase of fundraising for the construction funds. So we're realistically looking at a couple of years out before we start moving dirt. But we're moving forward. So that's good news.
Chris, you want to mention
I'm gonna
Nathan's
jump.
progress on the concrete weir?
Oh, yeah.
I'm an
Absolutely,
asshole.
yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so Nathan Ward is he is the UAWP We got together and we hired Nathan Ward as a coordinator. So his job is to basically herd all of these different nonprofits. So we actually do the stuff that we think we ought to do, as opposed to just talking about it and never realizing it. He also
I
is
think that's
my
awesome.
co-lead. Yeah. So he's been working for us for about a year and a half now. He's also co-lead on the South Arc project, but he has close to single-handedly um, basically just been um, tenacious, and he's now got the city is going to be removing the weir. There's a concrete weir across the river down at the almost at the confluence. There's the old stage road bridge that's down
Yes,
there, and
I
they're
know. Confluence of the Little Arkansas to the Big Arkansas.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's a
Yep.
horrible spot, but
Yep.
it's a great spot to catch fish.
Yeah. Well, that weir is coming out. Thanks
Oh
to
no,
Nathan. Yeah. No, that's a good thing.
but
It's a
I'm not.
major fi
I'm not being a fishing guide.
Well, it's going to be fine. It's a major fish passage barrier. So, Alex Townsend has said that every spring he sees those Gunnison River rainbows just stacked up below that thing. They want to get up in there and spawn in the South Arc, and they can't. So, it's going to be removed and it's going to be replaced with a series of step pools. So it's going to be better habitat and just to, as grade
I
control.
think that's
So
great, man.
yeah, and so
I'm not a
but that's
fly fishing guide anymore. Mostly, I think it's great. You know,
it's gonna
support
basically
the fish.
allow. Well, Alex thinks that the South Arc can be gold medal caliber water if there's access for spawning fish to get up in there. And once we've finished the habitat improvements that we're planning, it could be great because there's going to be right now there's not really much in the way of overwintering habitat up there, so there's not really a resident population of fish. There are definitely fish up there,
Right.
but not like there could be. So, but this is going to be a
But you know
massive
how many
thing.
trailer parks are up there? Like
What's
between
that?
that and um Poncha Springs, lots of trailer parks, man. So it's gonna be a tough sell, I'm just being
Well,
honest.
like a tough sell for what?
Trailer parks between um, you know, Poncha Springs and South Arkansas.
Right?
Lots of
So what
trailer
about
parks. You
so
know,
what about them?
you can't you can't let people come in there and do shit, right? And like move shit around, you know.
Well, hopefully they're going to get they need to have permits to make any moving stuff around. But I guess I'm not sure what you're getting at, Billy.
I'm thinking trailer park owners don't really really work the way we do, Um, but I've only owned two of them, so I think we're good, and good luck.
Yeah.
Um,
So I mean the work that we're proposing isn't going to be that far up.
oh,
But
really?
yeah, no, we're looking at and we've got support and from all of the landowners that we're proposing. And we're not going to go in and do stuff anywhere that on private property that people aren't in support of. So that's the
Oh,
first step we've gone through is getting their support. But we're only working, um, yeah, the farthest upstream we're going to be going with this phase anyway is going to be the Vanderveer property. So, but getting that weir
okay.
out of there, just that, that getting the weir out is just it opens up that whole river just to migration of fish. So, they'll be a naturally um and but yeah, like I said, that's
It'll be
something
great.
that
It'd be
yeah,
better than just like fishing the confluence, because it's just like
right.
those fish eat the food that comes out of that creek, and they're like, they sit there, and they're good fish, but they need something better,
Yeah.
in their life,
Yeah. Well, hopefully
like
we're
you
gonna give
do,
it to him.
and I do. You know,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Anybody have any other comments on that or questions? I'm happy to like have just a conversation and go through the details of the 60% design and everything with anybody who's interested who didn't make it to that meeting in September.
Chris,
I
could
read
you?
a nice article in the Mountain Mail a week or so ago about your meeting with somebody at City Council. Sounded like you got good support from them.
Yeah, yeah, they were very receptive. So that was great. Yeah. Ricky,
Chris, did you say how much you asked with the water plan grant? I can't remember, and I think you said it just now and I missed it.
123,000.
Okay, thank you.
And then we're going to ask for 45,000 from CPW. Fishing is fun. Those
I
are
got
round
that.
numbers. They're, it's like
Yeah,
45 to 14 or something like that.
yeah, I
But
gotcha.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Cool, thank you.
Cool. All right. Well, if it's okay, we can move on to the next item. Um, and this is a question. Again, I was talking with Karen Dills. So Blue Triton, if you all know, they basically are I don't know if they bought out or it's a spinoff from Nestle of the Arrowhead water. They're pulling the Arrowhead water up out by Ruby Mountain. They've got their pull there. And kind of in return for doing that, they've provided a couple of fishing easements on their property up there, upstream of Ruby Mountain. And they also are pretty active with contributing money to a variety of nonprofits in the valley, including our chapter. They've contributed to our chapter multiple times in the past. We haven't approached them for money in the last 2 years, I think. We didn't have anything specific to talk with them about. I ran into Karen Dills the other day, and she had mentioned that she had just been talking with them about contributing to Boys and Girls Club, which Karen is still active in. And she had mentioned the South Arc project to them, and they said that they would be interested in contributing to it. So it sounds like Blue Triton is interested in contributing money to our chapter. The question I have that I'd like to I don't want to make a snap decision tonight, but I want everybody to think about it, and I'm going to come back to you in a couple of weeks about it, is whether we want to contribute or continue um, taking money from Blue Triton, given the controversial nature of their operations in the valley. Um, Heard it referred to as blood money before. They're depleting the aquifer up here, taking that out of state to basically create bottled water, which causes, is problematic in its own right with bottle waste and things like that. Um,
Well, and
so
it's tricky. Like when I worked at the zoo, one of the big questions was, should a conservation organization be taking money from like oil companies? It was a great example where, um, I can't even think of a good name, but like Anadarko wanted to donate money because it's good for them, but it is that balance of, is it okay to take money, like you said, blood money from potentially what you might consider like the enemy. So it's a tricky
yeah,
thing because the money is going to good work. It's hard. It's a hard question.
right, exactly. Yeah, it's a tricky question, and so I want to put it out to the board for a vote to decide whether, because I can't give you a dollar amount. I think in the past they've given us, between $2,000 and $5,000 in a given year. So, it's not nothing in the scale of our budgets. So, but yeah, I mean, and, we can have some discussion now if everybody wants to, or we can just, kind of think on it, do some more research on what exactly they're doing with that and how you all feel about what their business is.
Yeah, I'm
We
curious
can,
to know more about like what they're doing and like how much money they're pulling off of these um, wells we have here.
There is some precedent here, if that has any meaning. Our chapter actually support their original permit because we felt it was a good exchange for what they were providing, the access easements, access for our Stream Explorers program, that sort of thing. And they did I think you're right. There was at least one $2,000 and one $5,000 contribution, so they have made it in the past. I don't know. I understand the philosophy behind rejecting it, but we just made less than half of what we wanted to in our raffle. I think, this is a source of money. And I don't think we should reject it out of hand, but that's not what you're asking. You're asking for some thought. So just throw in the
Yeah.
fact that there's precedent.
No, I think the thought is good, and but these are billion-dollar companies, right? And they're sucking us dry, right? And they have these little corporations down here. They're taking our springs out of our, like right down by Ruby Mountain, and like it's something to consider because it's like, can they take all the water from you ever? That's my concern. Don't take all my
It's all
water.
under the permit. It's all outlined in the permit, how much they use, how much they're allowed, how much they test.
Yeah, and Keith and some of you that have had more involvement in that, don't they have to return water back to the system? Or am I remembering that incorrectly? Like even though they pull it from the spring, don't they have a obligation to return some of it? Or not the water that they take, but am I not correct on that? It's been a
I
while.
can't answer that, Kim. That doesn't sound
Okay.
familiar to me.
Okay.
They
Yeah,
have monitoring wells all over they have at least 7 out there.
Yeah, well, and it's one of those, like, and again, I mentioned like conservation organizations that take money from like oil companies and those sorts of things. But I'm also a believer, One Trout Unlimited is nonpartisan, and the reason some of these companies exist is because we buy water. And so I have like remembering that balance of just the economics of why they are in existence. And I, on one hand, I really kind of believe that if we can take, they make a fair amount of money. If we can take some of that money and do something positive with it locally, I don't know. It's hard.
Wasn't there an augmentation piece to what they had to do?
That's what I was thinking, Bob, but I don't remember, and I've not been involved enough.
They did. Yeah, I think they did, Kim, and I don't know what the amount was. I know Keith's probably the only one who was there at the time, maybe Don.
Yeah.
Do you think that any of these motherfuckers give a shit about how much water, they take? That's bullshit, And I'm being honest with you.
Well,
So that's just me. I'm the new guy on the board, and I'm gonna throw it out there the way I feel about it because I think it's all bullshit. They don't give a shit. They just want to make money, And Nestle, they're here to make money. I'm out.
Yeah, they're they are limited in what they're allowed to take, but I don't doubt that they would, if they could get more, they would take it. But it's not like a situation where they're just taking whatever. They're limited to it, in what the amount they could take. But I mean, there was a ton of controversy when that was going through, and it was a big deal in the valley. That was like right before I moved here, but I remember like the repercussions, and then there was kind of I think a supplemental, like they applied maybe to get more. I can't remember. It was right when I moved here. There was a huge debate over whether they should.
And I could be wrong again. I wasn't involved, but I think they just in the last 2 or 3 years had to have their agreement reapproved by, I think, the county commissioners. Yeah. And so, but part of that was they had to go back through their initial agreement and prove that they're only taking what they're allowed. I do think there's an augmentation piece where they have to, I don't know if it's 1 for 1, put back the same amount of water they take out. But it would be interesting to review that. I haven't looked at it myself recently, but to kind of look at the details and
Right.
I'm a big, I don't believe in plastic water bottles. But
Kim, I love
just
you.
don't buy
I agree with
plastic
you.
water bottles. So.
I don't even know how we got here, but I agree with you, Kim, and like it's something to look into, because it's we don't want people steering stealing our water, and we have to figure this out, you know.
Well, water in the West is a tricky business, right? Like it's one of the most complicated things I think we deal with in living in the western part of the United States. It's hard. So,
Yes, but
Yeah.
us as TU members, it's a huge membership, and we have so many people. We can hopefully do something about that.
correct. Yeah. But I think part of it for me is if we can take their money and invest it in education and making people care more, I'm okay with that. I'll take their money.
Cool.
But again, interesting to like go back and review their agreement
Yeah.
and
Well, I would
'cause I think
suggest
there's a
that we,
balance, right?
yeah, no, I think that's a good idea. And I'm going to work on um, trying to get the latest, see if I can find like a synopsis of their agreement.
Chris, I'm sorry I took over. Man, I was fired up. I've been fired up for a couple days, and like I appreciate what you're doing for us, and I appreciate being on the board. But like, man, I just couldn't hold back. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're good. You're all right. Ricky, what you got? You got your hand up.
Yeah, so there's one thing about the agreement that they had was whenever they went and installed everything that they were supposed to install up there, they were supposed to reclaim a lot of that and prevent noxious weeds from coming in. And I know this from firsthand. So basically, they've completely neglected the whole like ecosystem reclamation part of it, and the weeds are just insane up there and they have not been addressing them the way that they're supposed to be. So I do know that that's one thing where there is a part of their agreement that they are just blatantly not adhering to. So that's just
Okay.
one story that I kind of know from my time with the weeds department. So
Do you
I
know if
mean,
if the county's going after him for it at all, or that's just how it
I
is?
think they would. I can find the article. They so this kind of happened when they lost their weed manager at about the same time, where they were supposed to go and treat it, and they were going to make them do it, and somehow issue some sort of injunction, or I don't know how they were going to do it. It's some legal stuff that I don't understand. But they were going to address it, and I don't know what's happened since then. There was an article in the
Okay.
paper about it a few months ago.
Okay. That's good
Um,
to know because we've got
yeah.
Gabe Evan or yeah, Gabe from the county is going to be at we've got our like annual all day UAWP meeting coming up and Gabe is going to be there so we can definitely ask him about that.
Oh, cool. Cool. Yeah, because that was
Um
one of the things whenever they had to re-up their agreement, that was one of the big things that they were like, why would we re-up this agreement with you when you're not adhering to the initial one, the original one, And I guess that they went through with it anyway, but
I think part of the problem is it's ongoing. When they opened those new trails for the fishing easements, it actually looked pretty good. They had taken out most of those weeds around the ponds, cleared out the scum out of the ponds. But you have to do that on a yearly, if not 6 month basis. You can't just do it once, which they did. I mean, they did it once, and
yeah.
that's not going to do it.
And you have to reseed and yeah, maintain. It's not just, oh, we got rid of the weeds once, we're good. It's much more than that. So
yeah, but that's what they agreed to do. So
yeah.
okay, well I'll work on getting the agreement or and hopefully a synopsis of it so we can kind of review and know exactly what's happening, what's not. And then it's just kind of a matter of, yeah, I just want everybody's individual feeling on it before we do anything, both about what's happening here and just, kind of on a larger level of like what's happening with that water. It's becoming bottled water, which has its own problems. So lighting in my room is crazy. Sorry about that. You're just getting looks like I'm a negative. Um, anyway, so yeah, I don't want to make a decision tonight, but I'll follow up with y'all and we'll do sort of an individual vote by email. So it can be, anonymous if everybody wants. I don't want to there's going to be differences of opinion, anytime we have a group like that, and I think that's healthy. So, um, but yeah, anyway, we'll keep moving on that. We don't we aren't in a position where we need that money for anything specific. It's just, do we want to take it when it's available. So, all right. Well, I want to move on. The next thing is I'm going to share my screen here. Hang on a sec. As soon as I find the right one to share. Okay. Are you all seeing the committee assignments?
Yes.
Okay. Are you seeing all of the committee assignments?
No, I'm seeing up through finance. Is that all of them now?
Yeah.
Okay,
So
yes.
that's what I wanted to talk about. So this is from last year,
It's all
and
zeros.
what we've had, and we have a lot of committees. We have too many committees, essentially.
Yeah.
And I've
Amen.
talked to leaders from several other chapters, and this kind of reflects what everybody else has. Um, and so they typically have five. I added finance. I'm not sure. I feel like we should have a finance committee, just to make sure that we got to keep Don honest. Um, but
Chris, looking at the list, does that include fundraising? I don't see fundraising somewhere else.
uh,
Would
Does
that be
finance get to be
finance?
fundraising too?
yeah, finance includes fundraising.
Okay, cool. Good to know.
Yeah.
The
So
money
yeah,
girl. Whoop whoop.
so down here is kind of a breakdown of what they each will include. So communications, conservation would be both projects and advocacy. Um, which right now we have two separate committees for that. Education, we would basically be combining youth, adult, and scholarship into those three committees into one. Membership is now called recruitment and retention. Programs would be derbies, veterans, flag gals. Flag gals is pretty much autonomous, but just so it's covered in one of our committees. And then yeah, finance would be fundraising. The Cold Water Resource Fund is a specific account that we have that in the bylaws it has to have a committee, so that would be covered by the finance committee, and then just general chat like the finance committee that we have now, chapter finances. So there's a couple of reasons that I think this is beneficial. One is right now everybody's on like four or five committees, but those committees really never meet, so it's not very effective. In this case, what we would basically have, we would have there's there's 12 of us. I'm an ex officio member of all committees, so not including me, we have 12 people on the board. So basically, if each person is on two committees, that means we have four people on each committee. Everybody's on two committees. It's a lot more manageable. But those committees also have a larger area of responsibility, which means hopefully that people will be more engaged with the committees and with what's going on with the chapter. And so, um, again, this is not a unilateral decision that I want to make. So I'd like to see what everybody's thoughts are on doing that.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep.
I think it's great because you split it up. You don't have to have everything on you, bro. And there's different things going on, and I think that's great. Because I don't know about the new programs and shit, but I do know about fly fish and stuff. So I think that's a good thing. Split it up.
Cool. What about other folks, especially some of y'all that have been around a while and had the committees the way they were before? What do you feel about consolidating things a bit?
I don't
I think
really see how you consolidate youth ed, adult ed, and scholarship. I can see it going under the main title of education, but you're gonna need three different people to do that. On the education committee, you need at least three. Scholarship is, that's a whole committee on its own, with the members and the workload. So I'm not complaining about the organization. I just don't see a real combination of those three areas under just one.
Okay. Well, these committees could have, I guess, subcommittees or something, but I think that what we have before with where we had like 14 committees and was kind of tough. And the other thing that I want to do is try to get more folks from um outside of the board to be on these committees. Like Jerry Wright, for example, he's very active in the youth ed. Let's get him on the committee so that he can be active. The scholarship committee is Dave, and then that's an instance where we have Dave Belmont is running that, but it's pretty much folks from outside of the board on that, which is great. Um, but it's sometimes tough to communicate between that committee and the board, just because we don't have other board members on it. So I think this way we end up with more board members on each committee, which means that, Keith, with youth education, for example, you would have more board members, hopefully helping with planning that kind of stuff, and it's not all on you for youth ed. Um, um,
Well, and I think, Chris, you kind of said like, so you have your education committee, but then you have three subcommittees where Keith still gets to be in charge of youth ed, but he just reports back to, I mean, whether he might be the chair for the education committee, but
right.
yeah. And I think
And
that might
I
be,
don't,
yeah.
yeah, I don't necessarily want to have this be something where we just add a layer where, we only have 6 committees, but then we have 28 subcommittees. That's,
Committees, yeah.
we're back in the same situation. So I'd like to, but, I think education is the one, and that's partly because we do so much of it as compared to other things where, um, maybe we do need to have subcommittees in that one, but so maybe some of these other ones, like the finance committee, we could have the same 4 people or hopefully more than 4 people, but doing all of that. Um, they could do all of those things. And, so, um, yeah, what does everybody else think?
I agree, man. I think that we have so many smart people here, and I mean, people who are like educated and willing to do whatever, that we should split this up. I don't think that, you know, like we have to have like these set spots in our daily regimen for, TU, but I think that, there's a lot of us who would like to do both. I would like to teach. I would like to bring people in to the new program, and um, I think it's just for the new TU management to figure out like how you're going to do that.
Mhm.
That
Any, Anybody else have thoughts for or against?
Can I put my name on conservation before it fills up?
So that's the next thing is I'm going to
The
share
names
this
are going
out.
to-
I'm going to share this out to everybody, and I want to. So Keith, my thought is like let's try consolidating them and see if it works better, and if it doesn't, then we can change it again. We're not changing anything in the bylaws here, so it's something that if we need to split out youth ed because it's it deserves a committee of its own, and it needs a committee of its own, then I'm happy to do that. But I feel like what we have now, we have too many committees, and if we go back to not, if we end up saying, oh, we don't have enough, we can add back in. We're not, nothing's permanent. Um,
Hey,
but
Chris.
yeah,
Yeah, I kind of like the consolidation idea. And I mean, just because we have, I mean, you just threw out that each board member could be on two, but that doesn't limit that number. I mean, aren't committees open to the general membership as well?
yeah, yeah,
And who's to
absolutely.
say that we don't have to be, so I mean, the education committee could be 8 people. I mean, it doesn't have to
Yeah.
be exactly 4 people, right?
No, no,
So, I mean, just
I would love
because,
it
but
to
I
be
do
eight
like
people.
it puts them in a nice category, but I think that, Keith is right and that, you need more people in that committee, but there's not necessary that we just serve on 2, and then that's each committee is comprised of 4 people.
Right.
So I like the
Yeah.
consolidation idea, but we just maybe need to get some involvement from the general membership.
No, that's absolutely right. Yeah, the 4 people, the idea was um, what I'd like everybody to do is put your name on 2 committees, at least 2 committees. If you want to be on 6 committees, bitching. But I don't, I would say, and first come, first serve. So put your name on 2 committees um, and until there's 4. Once there's 4, we need to fill all the committees. So if there's 4 people in a given committee, then and there's not 4 in another one, then you need to put your name on that one. And so let's say we have a couple people that aren't here tonight, and so I want to give everybody a fair shot. So and when I get it's the holidays, so I'm thinking like January 1st, I'll go back in here and take a look, and if there are people that haven't put their names on committees, then I'm going to put them on committees. And so they'll get those spots but yeah, it'll be first come, first serve on who wants to be on which committees. And then I absolutely want to try to make a bigger effort of trying to recruit other members. I've got a couple of folks that I've been talking with who are relatively new to the area, like who are at the year in review meeting, for example, who want to get more involved. So this is one of the ways to get those people involved, hopefully. So we'll get them in. So yeah, we aren't overtapping, this one little group of people to do everything. We need to spread the load. And so if y'all have any ideas of folks that we could get involved, who you want to recruit, then I strongly encourage you to do that. And I'm happy to help with that. If you want, I can, yeah, I'm happy to do that. And the other piece of that is that we need 6 people to be the chairs of the given committees. Um, so, like Keith, for example, if you want to be the education chair, if you don't want to be the education chair, that's fine. Um, but Ricky, if you want to be the conservation chair, or I can be the conservation chair, but I want to fill these up with you all and then with other folks. So, does that make sense? Did I explain that well? Yeah, Bob.
Chris, I'm just wondering, going back to just the intent for doing this, is the work getting done or not? Are you thinking the work's not getting done in these areas, whether it's in the 12 categories or now 6 categories? Is the work getting done or not?
Some of the work isn't getting
No.
done. Um, The membership, we haven't done any sort of like membership recruitment things. Rick Helmick is still the one sending out letters to like lapsed folks.
Mhm.
So Tom Arnott does a great job of putting together those quarterly reports, but that area has been pretty stagnant. Um, let's see. We go back to the other group here, and some of these committees haven't met in quite a while. Um, And so, like, advocacy is a good example. So, conservation, rolling advocacy into conservation, I think will help to bring that kind of up to the forefront again, um, as something that we do and can do. Um, let's see. So, yeah, I
Hey,
think some of
Chris,
this,
I would
yeah,
take on new membership roles because I'm doing something for another entity too, and I could like put those in a ball. And but I would definitely take on like getting new members for TU if you wanted me to
cool.
do that. I just need some direction on how
Yeah,
to do
no, for
that.
sure. Yeah, we'll get direction. Absolutely. So, you want to be on the membership committee then?
Sure.
All right, cool. Well, I'm going to share this link out. And then everybody can kind of jump in here and add your names in where you want to be. And if you're already on a given committee that you want to continue to be on, obviously That's something we want to do. That's the idea behind having you put yourselves on here first, is so that everybody is involved in the pieces that they're most passionate about. And so, because that's obviously goal number one. So, any other thoughts, discussions on that, or should we move on?
Chris, one thing I would say, I would caution you about just putting people on committees they don't want to be on just to fill the spaces. That's gonna, I don't think that really is beneficial. I mean, what's the point? I mean, the people aren't going to do the work if they don't volunteer. It's a volunteer organization. So
Sure. Yeah,
I would
absolutely.
caution against putting people on
Yeah,
without their willingness.
that's not my first choice,
I would
obviously.
think, I would hope not.
I want everybody to put themselves where they want to be. And then we'll try to fill out the other pieces as we can.
Yeah, it doesn't look like
But
with all
yeah,
the zeros that no one's really you're
well,
putting
it's
no
because
one
nobody's been on here
anywhere
yet.
other than me, right? So I
Right,
think
because
we're good
no,
on
yeah,
that end,
everybody's
right?
gonna have the chance. Yeah, so that's the idea.
Hey,
Yeah, and
Chris.
I'm not gonna force people to do anything, obviously, because then everybody will just quit. So
That's right.
yeah,
Yeah,
Don.
what did you say? January 1st, Chris, is the deadline to sign ourselves up.
Yeah, ideally. Yeah,
Okay, perfect. Cool.
cool.
Chris,
Yeah,
I was just going to
yeah,
say
Don.
real quick, the Veterans Committee with Gene,
Yep.
I don't know where that's going to fall, but I mean, I didn't see that on the
That's
list.
that's within programs.
All right.
So if on this page, if you go down below, it kind of has the subcategories that are within it. So that just falls under programs.
Copy that.
Yeah. So yeah, and obviously, yeah, Gene is going to be, he's a key piece of that, obviously. So yeah, we'll be adding him in here as well.
Well, I mean, that's been a really good committee. I think that
Yeah,
committee's functioning really well.
yeah,
And I mean,
yep,
like we're making good
And I
progress
think,
with, we're going to have our two events this year, hopefully. And
uh-huh,
I
yeah.
mean, you're big in that group too, so you know that. So
yep,
it's all good.
cool. All right, let's see here. Let me pull up my notes again. Um, all right. Yeah, and if folks have thoughts, like, yeah, Bob, I appreciate that. That's a great point about force people to do stuff. If everybody has other ideas about how to make things more effective, and as I said, if you have ideas of folks who might want to get more active with the chapter, please let me know and talk to those folks and see if we can bring them forward. So,
Chris, can we put out this whole idea out in the newsletter? I mean, that's the best reach we have to the
yeah,
members, right?
yeah, definitely. Yep, absolutely.
I mean, Scott does such a good job with that newsletter.
Yeah, I also find that absolutely people that's a great thing to do. I also find that talking to people individually is tends to be a more effective way to get them to step up. So if we can do that, but absolutely we should throw it out there and see what we catch for sure.
Chris,
Throw
I
the
don't
net.
like talking to anybody. It's just
I've noticed
it's
that about you.
me and my mother. That's it. Sorry, I'm joking.
I noticed that about you, Billy. All right, well, let's move on here. So the next thing we had on there was just an update on the Fly Fishing Festival, the Fly Fishing Film Festival. April 2nd is going to be the date, which I think is, I mentioned it's on the calendar there. We're going to change venues this year. We've done it last 3 years at the Ivy Ballroom at the Surf Hotel. They doubled the price of the room on us, and so we're going to be doing it at the Lariat this year, um, which is yeah a cool space. Garna is going to be doing a film fest at the end of this month, and Valeria is using that as an opportunity to upgrade their projector system and their screen and everything. So we'll have a really good setup there, awesome sound system, and yeah, it's going to be 500 bucks. Last year we had to pay an extra $250 to get the bar open. They charged us 250 bucks for the bar, but they didn't share any revenue from the bar with us. And then this year they said it was going to be 1,000 bucks for the room instead of 500, plus the bar, blah blah blah. The Lariat holds more people. They have better food service. They're going to have the movies playing on all the TVs throughout the place as well as on the projector, so people can move around and be like sitting at a table eating dinner and still watch the movies and so on. Um,
Well, what
so we're
Jeb Selby was in on that, right?
no comment.
Okay,
So,
me either.
Hey,
so
Chris,
yeah,
since we've packed the ballroom every year, you telling me the Lariat's bigger? I've only been to Lariat a couple times, but you're assuring me it will hold more than the ballroom.
that's what Zach told me. That's what he
Oh,
said. So
okay,
yeah,
good
because you can,
deal.
yeah, we can basically we can fill the whole dance floor with chairs, but there's also the whole rest of the place. So um, so yeah,
Oh yeah, it's going to be a
that's what we
party,
said.
man. It's a
Yeah,
big joint, and it's a
Yeah.
great um, dance floor and stage too,
yeah,
and pool tables. It's a great venue. It's not
yeah.
the um, Larry we used to know back in the day, but it's still a good joint.
Yeah. Yeah, it should be cool. And Zach really, really wants to work with us, the owner. He's a avid fly angler, so he's excited to have us there, which is always nice. And he's willing to really work hard with us to do it. So we're gonna be doing $25 per ticket, and we'll do a raffle again like we have in the past. So hopefully that'll continue to be our, I think we made about $8,000 last year off the top of my head off of that. So that's great. We'll also be doing a
What's the
lot of
date on
sponsorships
that?
again. What?
The date on that?
April 2nd, which is a Thursday.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is Upriver still our main partner?
Yeah. Yep.
Cool.
Yep. They're still our main partner. And we decided to move it. Last year we did it in late April. Um, but based on what the timing of the Vet X guys that are doing the F3T down in Salida, we decided to move it earlier this year. So I got a fruit fly running around here. Um, so we decided to go earlier this year, just to see what happens. Um, then for next year, we'll see what the Lariat is like, and if it's great, we'll stay there. For next year, we might look at the Orpheum, which is they're remodeling that, and it looks like it's going to be real nice. I was up there; they're not done yet, but I was able to go up there and take a look at it a couple weeks ago, and that place is going to be sweet. It's upstairs on Main Street. They're going to have if you know where that's at, it's a building where there's like a porch, over the sidewalk that's right there. There's like a covered over the sidewalk, but they're going to turn
Kind
that
of
cover
across
into a
from the
deck.
trailhead, right? Yeah.
It's yeah, right across from the trailhead. Yeah, exactly.
Gonna be
Um,
beautiful.
yeah, and they're gonna have a deck on that, so it'll be a deck that overlooks Main Street. And anyway, that's gonna be really cool. So we'll take a look at that too, depending on what happens with the Lariat. But hopefully the Lariat's awesome and we stay there. So um, yeah, Dave, or is that just background? Um,
Sorry, yeah, background.
hey, you're good. Any questions on that? I mean, that's going to be one. Obviously, we need a lot of volunteers to help out with that, putting it together and running it. It's been great in the past, so but there'll be more details coming on that moving forward. Um, all right, cool. Well, then, sort of related to that, the final thing was, I think at the last meeting, I brought up the idea of doing a fish-a-thon as a fundraiser. Where the idea there, it's a fishing derby, fishing contest, whatever. But one of the primary fundraising vehicles would be people would teams that were participating would gather pledges. And so they would be responsible for hopefully raising the money for us by doing that. And we would have, prizes and whatnot going on. But um, anyway, that's an idea that I brought up. And I just wanted to see what people's thoughts were on it as an idea, if people thought it was a great idea. And the second part of that would be who wants to help organize it? Because it's going to be a big lift. It's going to be a big thing, but it could be a really cool thing and kind of a signature. I think about the Carp Slam in Denver. That's a TU chapter thing they've been doing now for like 20 years, but they have hundreds of teams involved in that, and they raise like over 100 grand every year with the Carp Slam. But it's taken years to get there, but I think it'd be a cool idea, but it is going to be a big lift. So we would definitely need several people involved in doing that. So
Chris, I
Billy's
think
up.
the only way you can do this is like to do it at the our major lake, the influx, and you have to get the fish hatchery to dump in a bunch of fish, because you
Oh,
can't
I would
Right.
disagree.
on.
There's a race / fishing event over in Gunnison County or Gunnison River. I don't know exactly where, but it is literally a running race where you're also fishing. And I think there would be
Oh,
we
the
have
fly,
so
yeah.
many miles of river here available to the public. Like, I think it'd be fun to have a river challenge. I don't know.
Kim,
And
I
I
Yeah,
don't
say
you're
run.
talking about
I'm
like the
trying to not
triathlon.
volunteer
I can't
myself.
even like jump, you know.
Yeah, no, I just think it'd be like and kind of Chris mentioned Carp Slam, that's become a big thing. And again, I should know the name of the running fishing race, but I am not a runner, so it's not. But it's become a really big deal to it, and they have a like maxed out capacity, and they sell out every year for participants. So I think it has potential. I just am not the person to jump in and run it right now, but I like the idea.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yep.
People? Hello? No.
Yeah, we hear you.
Okay. I have drop foot. I can't run. So I love your idea, but I'm not running nowhere. What I'm
Well,
doing,
and this isn't necessarily running, but I think
I'll
just
set
being
up
having
a
access to the
fishing
river.
thing,
Yeah.
Kim. That's cool, right? I love you, but I'm not running nowhere,
One is, I don't think it's
I
running.
can
I think
barely
it's just
walk
fishing, but
in a straight line
having
sometimes,
access to the river, I think would be cool. It's our kind of our
I know. I love
primary
you.
thing, right?
I know I love you, but I can't run, So let's do something for people who can't run and just wants to go fishing, right?
Well, maybe there's a component where there's a lake piece.
We lost our leader. Chris isn't here
Oh
anymore.
no.
Me and
Gave up on
Kim
us.
have been friends for a long time. We're butting heads. We love each other. I'm sorry.
No, totally. No, but I think there's
love you.
again, brand
Chris
new
lost
idea.
his-
Hey,
Yeah.
Guys,
I can't even run.
Okay, guys.
Yeah.
So Chris lost his
Yeah.
internet connection. I just wanted to let you guys know he will not be returning. Okay. So he just sent me a text.
Hey,
So
I
yeah.
have my own attorney, so
Oh man. Hey, Ricky, is the meeting still being recorded?
I'm going
when
to
you're
close
Wild
this out.
Bill,
So
you have
so
to
let
have
me
your own attorney for 10
let
years.
me ameliorate the situation a little bit here. Looks like Billy, you might be getting some bad connection too. Your bars just turned yellow on me. So I think that
I'm
we can
dealing
do.
with Kimberly.
I think that we could do. I mean, we can consider doing both. Just because one person can't run doesn't mean somebody else doesn't want to run. I think they're both really great ideas. Just doing a regular fish-a-thon where you're just fishing and trying to catch a lot of fish, and however many fish you catch, you get paid for. I'm assuming that that's what the premise is here.
Yeah.
But then I think that the idea like running and fishing at the same time, or even like maybe like a kayak race and fishing, something like that, where you can get on the see ya, Don, where you can get on the river, and whoever makes it first and catches the most fish both at the same time, like then you don't have to run either. It's funny,
Or
Don
it's a
said,
team and there's a lake team. I mean, it's a whole new idea. So many kind of ways to look at it and approach it. So
yeah.
I think it's
So
potential to an idea. So
basically,
great
I
idea.
guess
No.
we still need to find somebody who wants to put this on their plate.
Right.
Any volunteers who want to,
Well,
get together
you
and
know,
get a group together and start trying to figure out who
Kimberly is
and
wanting
what
to
when.
start a race for you know, fishermen and
Well, and it's
fisherwomen.
again, it's just an
I'm
idea
not doing
someone
that.
else has
So
done
that's
very
all you, Kim.
successfully. So yeah.
Kimberly, it's all you.
I'm not in a position to take it on by myself right now, but I do think there's
It's
an
a great
interest. I
idea.
think it's a
I
great
know.
idea for some sort of fun event. So I support this.
I know
Ricky, I'm
you're
trying
a
to
bunch of great
find.
ideas. I love you.
Thank you. Love you back.
I think it's awesome.
Ricky, do you have the ability to share the agenda back out so we can see? I don't know where we left off. If there's just
I'm
a
not
place
doing it.
to.
So yeah, give me 1 second here.
We're still in a
I
meeting.
I'm just
Oh
gonna
my
give
God.
you put up my
Woo!
meeting, the minutes that I'm taking, because that'll be easier for me. I don't know which one that is though.
Chris, what do you think?
I don't know. I was out there for a
Oh, you're
while, so
back?
I missed the
What are
Yay.
conversation
you
there for a
doing?
bit.
Welcome
Like
back, Chris.
I
smoking a
lost my
bomb?
internet connection there for a minute.
No, that's cool.
I don't know what you
So what are
guys
we
are
talking
seeing
about?
right now.
I don't even know. Like TU and what we're doing and like
The
what's going on and like the real deal is like we got to get people involved, and it's got to
So we
be
were talking about the
fun
fish-a-thon,
things,
and we were trying to find out who's going to lead it, who wants to organize it. There were no volunteers
Yeah.
yet.
Okay.
Billy did not want folks, because Kim had suggested we could do like a race where you like run and fish, and Billy doesn't want to do that. So I think a
I
great way
don't
to
run.
ensure that we don't do the run and fish is for Billy to
I
be
can't
involved in
even run.
organizing it. And I also suggested we could potentially
I
get
can't
like
physically run. It's fucked up.
Well, and it's again,
There's
if
a
another group does something similar, I think it's generally the idea of a fish-a-thon is great, but finding that detail that makes it different and makes it unique that draws people
Right.
in.
That's
And I
great.
was thinking
I'm
like
sorry.
kayaking, like kayak and
being
fish,
Yeah.
or like
asshole,
pack
but,
raft,
I love you, Kim.
well, I
The
think that I
problem with
don't
the problem with combining it is you're limiting your audience. If you're going to tell somebody they have to kayak and fish, you're not going to get as many fishermen. If you're going to tell
Right.
somebody they have to run and fish, you're not going to get as many fishermen.
Who
I
even
think it would
runs
be
anymore?
And I also think that there's potential for like a team where you have a fisherman, a runner, a lake fisherman.
right.
Like I think
So it
there's it's
sounds
a
to me
great idea.
like Billy and Kim and some other folks need to get together and brainstorm the idea. Tonight's not the night to do that, but this is what I
Yeah.
want to do is like, let's figure out if we want to do it. And if so, what does it look like?
Thinking like
But
a fish bomb. Like, let's get a bunch of fish dropped in a lake with CPTU with a bunch of new fishermen and fly fishing and whatever. It's like a fish bomb.
So we'll talk offline. Tonight's not the night. I agree with Chris.
It's not a bad
yeah,
idea,
but
right?
but what I want to do is basically decide if we have folks on the board or otherwise enough people that are interested enough to organize it to figure out
Yep.
what it looks like and put it together. And it may take more than a year to get it together. It's like I said, it's a big lift to come and put something like this together. I've talked to folks from other chapters that do this kind of stuff, and it's complicated. But they also they're really fun. They're a really good PR for the community, and a lot of them, they make a lot of money. So I think it could be worth doing, but it's going to take some dedicated folks. So um, anyway, it was like I said, I brought it up before. I wanted to bring it up again and see if it sounded like something that folks wanted to put the energy into. So that would be, if you're interested in that, that would be the finance committee, which includes fundraising. Or it could be the programs committee because it's an activity. I don't know where that one would fit.
Those are the tricky ones. Where does it live?
It better have its own committee. We have to have its own committee. That's all there is.
Okay, good job, Chris.
I'm
I
already
gotta
trying
go.
right now to raise
Thanks, Keith.
$150,000 for another organization, but I could probably like figure that out, because I think a fish bomb idea would be pretty good,
Cool.
I mean,
Well, let's come up with a time where we can get a meeting together let's get some folks that are the people who are interested in it. let me know, and we'll get that subgroup of people together to brainstorm some ideas. Sound
I
good?
think that's good.
All right, cool.
Kim, what do you think?
We'll talk offline.
What do you think about a fish
take
box?
up. We'll talk offline. We won't take up the committee or the board's time tonight. We'll
You're not
check in
cool with
later.
that? I know.
No.
There
I just think it's
are
not. This isn't the
fish
right
that
time
are
to
gonna
talk.
be
We'll talk later.
punished. I know. And I understand where you're coming from. So
We'll talk another
Cool.
time. No, it's just not.
I
for
love
this board
you.
meeting.
Bye-bye.
All right. Does anybody else have anything else we want to add or that we missed? Dave, I saw your comment about the
I don't think
flyathlon.
so.
And those guys are crazy. So, yeah, I know
Pardon me?
Andrew Todd is kind of the head guy of that. The flyathlon is a thing where it's run fish beer, basically. That's kind of the one that
Yes.
I think,
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
totally the one.
yeah.
And it's hugely popular and sells out every year. Like you can't get
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good luck.
So cool. Well, if nobody else has anything else to add, yeah, things are falling apart here with internet and battery life and stuff. So, we can call it. So, it is 7:32. We call the meeting adjourned. So, thanks everybody for being here, and
Awesome.
yeah,
Thanks,
think about the
Chris.
stuff. All right, thanks a
Yep,
lot,
thanks,
everybody.
Chris. Ricky, have a
Happy
good night,
holidays.
guys.
Take care, everyone.
Yeah.
Good seeing y'all.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Bye,
guys.
everyone.